Dr. Ulka Azemi is an assistant professor of marketing. She's very well versed in the world of marketing, and we're excited that she's agreed to share with us some things that you can do to attract long-standing customers, those customers that want to come back for more. That's the ultimate goal, right? So Dr. Ulka Azemi.
Hello, everyone. As Jaina said, my name is Ulka Azemi, and I am the Assistant Professor of Marketing in the School of Business and Economics here at IU Northwest. I am very excited to be here today and to share with you the presentation that I have prepared. So I will, now I will stop the video so that it will be easier for you to go over the slides with me. But as I said, I'm very excited, and the topic for today is marketing strategies that attract long-standing customers. So while the title, the topic of the presentation today might give the implication that what I'll do is I will take you through the different marketing strategies that attract long-standing customers, we will do more than that. So basically, I will help you to figure out what the foundations that you should consider are and what steps you should take to make reasonable marketing strategy decision making that attract long-standing customers. And basically the idea goes back to, yes, understanding the customer and understanding the customer expectations. So very much so, the presentation today will be, the focus of the presentation today will be understanding the customer and how that leads to making smart marketing strategy decision making, and in turn how that leads to attracting long-standing customers. But let me start the presentation today by sharing a story. So 2 days ago, I was chatting with a friend of mine, and she said something like this: I would never be able to do a marketing job or to be a marketer. And basically because I'm not good at all at designing, so I cannot design a logo, I cannot make a logo, I cannot design a pamphlet, I cannot design a gift card. And what I was trying to tell her is that, you know, marketing is way more than that. Yes, it includes the design piece. And yes, it includes the promotional marketing techniques, such as the gift card and the pamphlet. But really, the core of marketing is understanding the customer and the customer expectations, because at the end of the day, it is the marketing expectation that should direct you towards making smart promotional techniques. So let's say, for example, your customer expects or wants to see a green pamphlet instead of a red one. That's what you should provide to them, because then the chances that those customers that have been exposed to the green pamphlet end up happier are higher. Or in turn, let's say if you figure out that you find out, based on the market research that you have done, you find out that your customers value the gift card and the pamphlet equally, then as a small business, you might want to go with the pamphlet and not the gift card, because it will be more efficient and effective way of managing your marketing budget. And, you know, being careful and cautious about the marketing budget as a small business is really, really important. Okay, so we have a question in here. Let me do that. Is this good now? I hope so. Okay, so thank you. So if we go back to the importance of understanding the customer, then also we have to be cautious of how much we understand the customer. We have to understand the customer across the entire customer journey. And that includes understanding the customer and the customer expectations in context to the product. That is, what is it that the customer expects in context to the product? What is the quality that the customer expects? What is the packaging that the customer expects? What is the coloring of the packaging and the information that should be revealed in the packaging that the customer expects? Does the customer expect the product to be sold only online, or whether it should be sold in brick and mortar too? What is the customer expectation in terms of the pricing strategy? Do they like discounts or not? And basically the first impression is that, everybody likes discount, but not necessarily, okay? Those that seek high quality, they do not expect very big discounts in comparison to those that care more about the price. And then you also have to be careful in context to the customer expectations in terms of the promotion. And recently, marketers are emphasizing very much the recovery strategies that companies should utilize. And basically, recovery strategies include all the actions that companies utilize to make the customer happy in case a customer dissatisfaction occurred somewhere in this customer journey between the product point to the promotion point. Okay, so as I said, understanding the customer, it's not easy at all. And basically because customers are different. Somebody values high quality, others value moderate quality. Some, they want to buy the product through the website, but the way how they perceive the website is different. Some want a bright color in the website, others dark colors. Some wants more visuals, other wants more text. And again, when it comes to price, some want single prices, others want discounts, some wants prices that end with odd pricing, such as, let's say, 0.95 or 93 or 99, and others want even prices. And the list goes on. But the fact is that, regardless really how much we try, the chances that we are going to have customers that are dissatisfied are very high. And even data suggests that more than 50% of what companies do generate customer dissatisfaction. So did you hear that? That's a lot. More than 50% of what the businesses do only reinforce dissatisfaction. But the thing is that only 5% of customers complaints, only 5% of customers tell us that something has been wrong and something was happening that made them dissatisfied. Now, maybe the rest of the customers, regardless that didn't complain, they will still stick with us and they will still purchase with us. And we believe that we're doing an amazing job and those customers are happy. But yes, we're happy that they're purchasing from us. But on the other side, we don't know what the consequences are from that particular customer. Those customers are the ones that basically, for most part, are going to tell friends and family that, okay, I'm staying with this company because I either am too shy to start collaborating with a different company or don't even have the time to find another company, but really I'm not happy with this company and I would not suggest you to start purchasing from them. So do you see how we're getting one customer? That customer is a loyal customer to us, but that customer is not happy. And that customer is taking away some other potential customers. So this is a big, it poses a big risk to every single company. But also if we look at the consequences in general terms, data suggests that the companies in general lose up to $75 billion. And here we have the source that talks more about that in case you want to read and get some more in-depth information. Now, So far, I have been talking about customers and how customers are different, but how important it is to understand customers in general, what the marketing field suggests. But I thought it would be best to share with you some data that I have specifically about the customers of our region, Northwest Indiana. So several years ago, I was trying to figure out how and what drives customers' decision making for businesses in Northwest Indiana, but specifically in the city of Gary. So I was trying to understand those customers throughout the entire customer journey. That is in context to how they perceive the product, how they perceive the placement of the product, how they perceive the pricing, how they perceive the promotion, as well as how they perceive those so-called recovery strategies or actions that companies utilize to make the customers happy in situations when they're not. And what I found out is that in general terms, there are two different types of customers specifically in the city of Gary. And I found out, and you can see in the slide in here as well, that those two types of customers, they're so different. Basically, across the entire journey, there are only 3 points that they are similar to. But let me define those two groups of customers first, and then I'll take you through their customer journey. So the first customer group includes those customers that they wanted to purchase from businesses in Gary because they wanted to benefit from that, either in terms of price or in terms of because it was easier for them to purchase from businesses in Gary due to location. So basically, they looked into what benefited them the most. But on the other side, the other customer group, they were all about, let's support the businesses in Gary. But then when I've delved more into their customer journey, I figured that they're really the same, only in 3 different points. And those are the points. Both customer groups, they search for the prices of different companies before they make the decision. So they're both price conscious. They both seek price discounts. So they're all about price discounts, even though group 1 of the customers, they're happy with a 5% discount, whereas group 2 is happy with 10 to 20% discount on the base price. So do you see the difference? They seek discounts, but the amount of the discount that makes them happy is different, okay? And then the third point is both groups, they let the company know in case they're not happy. And that's amazing because that is what the small businesses seek for. And that is what the small businesses should try to convince customers to do, basically to let them know if they're happy or not, because if they're not happy, we have to improve. Now, the idea is that regardless that I have managed in this particular slide to group the customers into 2 general groups. If you're a great marketer, you would seek to segment the customers even further. So basically, you will seek to find the similarities and differences of customers even further. What does that mean, or what did that mean for my own research? I looked into the similarities and differences of those 2 groups even further, and I figured that there are subgroups within those 2 types of customer groups. And I found out that there are 6 different customer groups in Gary. And I'm not going to share much details about this today. We can do that in a different meeting. But if you really want to know more about the findings, just email me and I'll share the information with you. So the question is, are there happy customers too? Absolutely. The idea of the study was not necessarily to find if the customers are not happy or not, but really to figure out in case they're not happy, what strategies to utilize to make them happy again. Okay, so yes, all of those customers are potential happy customers. So there is no customer really that starts the collaboration with a company with the stance that, oh, okay, I'm going to have a bad experience. And not in this study. That's not what I found out. Now, do you see in here, I have a note which is saying companies choose one or multiple segments of customers to work with. What does this imply? This implies that companies might approach, after they have understood the customer expectations throughout the entire customer journey, they might decide to approach or to sell the products or services to one segment, one customer group, or multiple. It really depends from the strengths and weaknesses of the company or the opportunities and threats. So from the internal and external factors of the company. Let's say, for example, the company cannot financially manage, as a small business, cannot financially manage to deliver promotional communications to customers that are in a specific group, then in the beginning, they just ignore that group because they cannot handle dealing with that particular group. So the fact is that after we understand who our potential customers are and we segment them into groups, it is then when we decide, okay, which customer segment or what customer segments am I going to deal with? Now, you might say, yeah.
Ulka, we have a question. Are there happy customers too? So I'm wondering if maybe you could explain what those different initials mean, and then that might help to answer that question as well. But the question is, are there happy customers too?
So I believe that I've answered the question. What I said is that, yes, customers in this particular study, they were all happy. And the purpose of the study was not necessarily to figure out, are the customers that Gary businesses deal with happy or not? It was more so in cases when they're not happy, what is it that the Gary businesses should do? What kind of strategies that they should utilize, as well as what the customer expectations are in terms of the product, price, place, and promotion. And maybe to be able to answer the question better, what if I take you through this slide in more in depth? So let's say, for example, first of all, the line in here in this graph, the red one, pertains to the customer one, which is the type 1 customer group. And then the blue refers to the type 2 customer group. So let's see, for example, the presentation, in the horizontal axis. The presentation in here refers to the whether the customer expects the product to be presented more through visuals, or whether they want more text in the packaging. So do you see how the blue one, basically the customer 2 is looking more for the visuals, and then the customer type 1 is looking more for the more for text in the packaging, and so on and so forth. So as I said, I'll not delve more into this data because that will take us forever, but I would be happy to share the slides and more information with the participants in case they ask for. I see in here, one question said, yes, it would be best to have the, one comment was, yes, it would be best to have the slides, and I'll be happy to share the slides with everybody.
Thank you.
So thank you, Jana. So if we go back to the segmentation process, your question might be, okay, so how did you conduct this research? How do you group customers into segments? So it all started with the segmentation, the so-called segmentation strategy. So basically what you do is you look into the 4 different components of your potential customers, and that include the behavioral aspect of the customer, the psychographic aspect of the customer, the demographic aspect of the customer, and the geographic aspect of the customer. So let me talk more about every aspect of the segmentation strategies. So when you look into the behavioral aspect of your customers, you look into, okay, what is it? What kind of benefit is my customer asking for, or valuing more? Is it the quality? Is it the taste of the product? Is the image enhancement that the customer gets from the product? Is it the beauty of the product? And then the product usage. How often is the customer going to purchase from you? Every day, every now and then, or maybe just once, and then the customer will forget about you because not necessarily the customer needs your product more than that. And then what are the occasions that drive the customer decision-making to purchase from you? And then also how price sensitive are customers? And so this was all about the behavioral segment. And then when it comes to psychographic segment, you look into the personality of the customers. Are the customers outgoing? Are the customers shy? What is their lifestyle? What is their hobby? Are they family-centered, et cetera, et cetera? And then what motivates the purchasing? Is it the safety that the product makes, that your products makes them feel? Is it the status, that the enhancement of the status that might occur to the customer if he or she owns your product, etc.? And then the demographic segmentation basically refers to what is the age cohort that you're dealing with, the gender of your customers, the income, the occupation, education, family life cycle, ethnicity, religion, social class. And then for the geographic segmentation, basically you look into, okay, where is more or less my customer located? Is it located in Gary only, or is it in Indiana only, or is it in a different state too? So all of those different factors will help you to understand better who your customers that you're dealing with are. So to simplify things, I thought, okay, let me take you through a more an example that basically will help you to maybe better understand the process of segmentation, or the process of understanding the customers and organizing customers into groups. And I'll take as an example a company that is known as Truly Teas to illustrate everything. So maybe you have heard about Truly Teas. Truly Teas is a company that sells organic tea. And what I have done is I have somehow assumed a potential segmentation process for Truly Teas. So I've looked into the customers, into their potential customers, and this is all hypothetical. So this doesn't represent the true segmentation process of Truly Teas, because I am not sure how they've done the segmentation process. But again, I want to emphasize that this is just the sake of the example. So let's see what Truly could have potentially done. They could have looked into the customers, and they could have organized the customers into 3 different groups. Okay, so the first group of customers include female and male customers. Those customers have finished high school, they're married, they're more concerned about the quality of the product than the price, and they're more they barely use the product, as well as they're located in Illinois. The second group includes female, it includes undergraduate customers, it includes customers that are single, it includes customers that care about the quality of the product. They are more frequent users than the segment number 1, and they're located in Indiana. And then we have the second potential customer segment for Truly Teas, and that includes male, it includes graduate individuals that have a graduate degree. It includes single people, those that care more about the price. There are frequent buyers in general. They're located in Indiana, but they're non-environmentalists. So in here, you see that there are 3 different customer segments. But as I said in the beginning, as a startup, really whether you want to approach every single customer group, it depends specifically from the internal and external factors of the company, such as the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats of the business. It also depends, beside that, from how you want to position yourself. Do you want to be positioned as a company that cares about the quality, or whether you want to be positioned as a company that is not really necessarily too concerned about the quality, but you're more concerned about the price, as well as the mission of the company. So keep in mind those 3 points in here, and let's go to the next slide. Do you see how I've crossed segment number 3? Why? Because mainly when it comes to Truly Teas, mainly because of the mission of the company and the positioning. The mission of the company of Truly Teas is to provide tea that it's environmentally friendly, it's organic, it's all about health. If you see the segment number 3, and the part that I'm highlighting in here is saying non-environmentalist, okay? So basically, this could potentially imply that they do not care about, having everything organic, having everything recyclable, etc., etc. But on the other side, the positioning was another factor that oriented Truly Teas not to consider segment number 3. Why? Because do you see in here, the other 2 groups, segment number 1 and 2, they care about the quality of the product, which means that they're willing to buy more, but they are not necessarily interested to sell cheap product. So basically, again, it was the mission and the positioning that directed Truly Teas to focus its efforts in selling the products to segment number 1 and segment number 2. But so far, we just have talked about how understanding the customer and segmenting the customers into groups is important. Now, let's see why it is important and how the segmentation process and understanding the customer helps us to make better decisions, marketing strategy decisions across the customer journey that I've showed at the beginning of the presentation. Let's see for segment number 1. They wanted high quality product. Do you see how the company have decided to provide high quality tea and the price to be higher than the prices of competitors? They also are about quality, hence they wanted to sell only organic tea. On the other side, do you see 5 years old and up was the demographics, the age cohort that the company is dealing with? So the social media that they're utilizing is Facebook and not, for example, TikTok, which is used more by younger generations. And then mail messages that target mom. Do you see in here how the decision-making among this group is mostly influenced by mom? Subsequently, the company sells mails messages out that basically targets mom and not another member in the family. Gift cards and 20% discount to motivate purchase. Why? Because they're not very frequent users. There are rare users. So we know that discounts for must bars and gift cards, and specifically when we deal with women, do motivate them to purchase more. But let's see how the marketing strategies across the product, price, place, and promotion might not necessarily be the same for the customer segment 2. So again, for the segment 2, we have high quality and high price. We have organic tea because those as well care about the quality, but we are no longer using Facebook, we're using TikTok because the customers in this segment are customers that are 25 years old and below. And then bring a friend and get 10% off. Why did I take bring a friend as an example of a promotional strategy? Because those are people that are influenced by peer. peer influenced potential customers. So subsequently, we want to influence the peers basically to make a more, to increase the number of potential customers for us. So once again, just to summarize everything in regards to understanding the customers, it's important that we understand the customers in depth before we make marketing strategy decisions across the product, across the price, across the place, and the promotional techniques, okay? And then once we understand the customers, we segment them into groups. Why? Again, because we want to understand every single segment even more in depth so that the marketing strategies that we provide to them are closer to what they expect. But also segmentation process, it helps us to figure out, okay, is it worth it to approach every customer segment that exists out there? Or maybe it's not, because a particular segment we can just not afford financially at this particular time, or maybe they might not just be profitable for us, or maybe regardless how much we try to convince them to purchase from us, that's never going to happen. So it will be more effective and efficient for us to just forget about that particular segment and put our effort in the other customer segments.